Because the school and the ecosystem that is born is only making him very spiritual. But the real world is different. So when he goes out of 10th standard, she told me, can you tell me a practical school? And that I was wondering, oh, this is the idea about spirituality. Spirituality means goody goody. No, spirituality is practical. So people think that if you're too spiritual, you become like a doormat.
Yeah.
People think they're taking for granted. ये तो कुछ नहीं करेगा बेचारा.
विजडम एक ऐसी चीज है जिसके चलते आप लाइफ की हर जंग जीत सकते हो और इसीलिए एक सही और वाइस मेंटोर का होना काफी जरूरी हो जाता है, जैसे चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के लिए चाणक्य. टुडे आई हैव विद मी डॉक्टर राधाकृष्णन पिल्लई सर, who kind of idolized Chanakya and wrote enormous books over the characteristics and the wisdom Chanakya possessed. This episode will bring you a lot of enlightenment, so make sure you stick till the end. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. RadhaKrishnan Pillai Sir.
Welcome to Vritvi Talks the Ambition podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor.
No, sir, it has been a pleasure, and trust me on this when I say that I have been manifesting this and I have been idolizing you for a longest period of time. There was this book, Corporate Chanakya, which I read first of yours, and then after that I was like, I have to read all of your books. Unfortunately, I have not been able to read all, but yes, majority of them. And you seem to be so inspired by Chanakya. So that brings me to my first question. Like, why did you choose only Chanakya out of all the mythological characters, all the real characters in the real world? Because Chanakya was in the real world, right? So आपने सिर्फ चाणक्य को ही क्यों चुना? And why not others?
Let me put the question in two ways. Why did you select Chanakya and why did you stick to Chanakya?
Okay.
शादी हो जाते divorce नहीं हुआ.
Oh my God.
So I'll tell you why I selected Chanakya because of two reasons. Number one is that I thought in India, when we look at our great Indian culture, we always look at it as a spiritual country, which it is. But let us not forget the other side of it, that we are the richest country in the world also. So we are a balance of spirituality and material success. वरना जब बोलते हैं, of course we talk about meditation, spirituality, yoga, but we are also a country which had the richest people in the world. So world is a part of our economy. We were having the best of both worlds, material and spiritual. And I was wondering, is it real? Of course, and I'm a follower of Shiva, I'm a follower of Krishna. But the thing is that the one point I said, it is only goody goody. No, it's real. No is the person who made India the richest country in the world. That was Chanakya.
Okay.
And our scriptures talk about two Sanskrit words for success in this world and that world.
Okay.
It's called Abhyudaya and Nishrayasa. So why should we have only, external success? We should also have internal calmness and quietness, which we call as spiritual success, but why not material success? So what attracted me towards Chanakya was Artha Shastra, the scripture of wealth.
Okay.
And then let me tell you, after I studied it, it was really fascinating, and I believe that Chanakya is totally unexplored. 22 books done and still writing 4 more. I am saying that this is one person in the whole gamut of Indian wisdom who has been known but less understood. So the journey has started, and as I said, it's still going on. So I will say maybe I chose Chanakya, or was it Chanakya who chose me for his own?
That is true. That is true. But tell me one thing, sir. आपकी लाइफ में या आपकी पर्सनल जर्नी में हम जिस भी आइडियल को या हम जिस भी इंसान को अपने रोल मॉडल बना लेते हैं, उसका हमारे पूरे ओवरऑल लाइफ जर्नी पर या हमारे पूरे कैरेक्टर बिल्डिंग पर भी बहुत ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है.
जी.
तो हाउ डिड दिस हैपन टू यू आफ्टर यू काइंड ऑफ आइडियलाइज्ड चाणक्य, एंड व्हाट विल changes, maybe positive, maybe negative, whatever, but what was the impact of Chanakya and how it helped you grow in life?
Sure. In fact, there is a saying that ये पूरी दुनिया 2 भागों में बांटी जा सकती है. Before Corona, after Corona. You have seen the whole world going to a different level. I would say my life can be divided into 2 parts. Before Chanakya, after Chanakya. And I can tell you this, I was an absolutely normal guy. I mean, like anybody who was born in that area. only ambition is to study well. That's what your parents tell you. Do something big in life. Basically earn money. So that we are not a struggling generation. But you will be surprised that after studying Chanakya, you realize one thing that, oh, my whole thought process has changed.
Okay.
And for the positive. I don't think they're negatives. So what has happened to me is that after studying Chanakya, I became practical in life with a spiritual base.
Okay.
And I tell you, Chanakya's thought process actually takes a different leap. I can give you a couple of examples. You know, I can see through people. I'm not here to say I have X-ray, scanner, तुम्हारे मन में क्या चल रहा है, छोड़ो. That is not my interest also. But the best part is that after studying Chanakya, I realized one thing: nobody can fool you. So I'm in different worlds. I work with armed forces. I work with spiritual organizations. I work with education institutions. I'm an author. The things that you're able to see, there are different patterns and there is uniqueness also. One thing about Chanakya is that I'm able to, be very comfortable everywhere. Because finally at the end of it, it's human beings.
Correct.
Second thing, which I realized one thing while studying Chanakya is that the other side of spirituality is actually understanding human psychology.
Correct.
So, let me give an example. There's a mother who came to me and I was very disturbed for 2-3 nights when she told me this. She told me, "Mera beta 10th standard mein hai. He's going to a very good school. He's got nice friends, nice teachers. But I'm worried about his future." I said, okay, what's the problem? So I sometimes guide parents, teachers. So this mother told me that her son is in 10th standard, but he's not practical because he's very spiritual. I said, what an understanding of spirituality. Like, मेरा बेटा बहुत अच्छा है, all surrounded by goody people. He studies the Bhagavad Gita, he studies but he's not practical. Because the school and the ecosystem that is born in is only making him very spiritual. But the real world is different. So when he goes out of 10th standard, she told me, can you tell me a practical school? And that time I was wondering, oh, this is the idea about spirituality. Spirituality means goody. No, spirituality is practical. So people think that if you're too spiritual, you become like a doormat.
Yeah.
People think they're taking for granted. But you know, Chanakya is one person who realized for the world that you have to have practical insights to life also. So you have to be worldly wise, you have to be smart. At the same time, you have to be spiritual.
Yeah.
So coming back, this thing happened in me because I've been born up in a spiritual family. My father, my mother, everything around me was only about spirituality. But then there's one thing, that's only one part of your life. The foundation has to be spiritual, but you have to be practical also. So what has made me change in my personality or the person that I've been made of is a combination of inner strength of spirituality and material success outside also. Therefore, the summary of all this is Chanakya has made me understand emotions but not get emotional.
Yeah.
Have sentiments but not become sentimental.
Correct. But how do I put this? This can also be termed as Stoicism. So, do you think that Chanakya's ideologies are pretty much based on Stoicism, which is not our culture, it has come from the West? But फिर भी आजकल जितने भी आप वर्ल्ड लीडर्स देखोगे या जो भी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज के जो भी सीईओज रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल एप्पल के जो सीईओ थे स्टीव जॉब्स, yeah, very recently Nikhil Kamath of Zerodha, right? They all follow, or maybe they all have understood that Stoicism is a way of living a happy, comfortable life. Do you agree to this?
Fine balance that is required between materialism and spiritualism. But the reality is that, in India we always looked at it as one.
Yeah.
So whether you're in the world or whether you're within yourself, you should be having the idea of contentment and ambition. And as you said about Steve Jobs, he found his purpose in life in India.
Exactly.
So when you go,
and that's through the path of spirituality. Yeah.
And he was literally one of the most successful person.
Yeah.
Apple is one of the most valued companies in the world. But many people don't know that the journey started with the Himalayan trips that he did.
Yeah.
Neem Karoli, Baba, and others. Yeah. So I think you're right. Chanakya is a fine balance. Please understand, contentment should not become laziness. And that's what becomes unproductivity. You have a great human life, should have a spiritual purpose, but why not contribute to the world? The world wants people who are spiritual, but leaders also.
Yes.
In fact, there's a very beautiful word in Bhagavad Gita, and that is called Loka Sangraha.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you attain enlightenment, what do you know next? Our scriptures talking there is some world after enlightenment.
Yeah.
The world is one, you realize yourself. उसके बाद क्या करना है? Loka Sangraha. To get people together and take them on a spiritual path.
Okay.
So I think it's very important to know that there is no difference between materialism and spiritualism.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, a spiritual person also can be what Chanakya called Raja Rishi. And as Shivaji, Marathi में माना Shrimanta Yogi. So this whole thing that you can be rich, but you can be yogi from inside.
Correct. So my question was around this only, like since you mentioned about a mother being worried about the child, that he's too spiritual and not practical, right? So in the real world, when we talk about Stoicism also, sir, this is a reality, right? And like off camera also when we were discussing, that people go in depression for whatsoever minuscule reason also, right? I mean, yes, we have understood that there is life after every setback, but still there is a lot of hope and inspiration which people require. And Stoicism, when it comes from someone like Chanakya's ideologies also, which are very similar, that there is a thin line between spirituality and practicality, right? And the person who has understood this, like how Steve Jobs understood this, so that is where they kind of grew leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
But to attain that level of peace, sir, आपको क्या लगता है? आपकी ऐसी क्या टिप्पणी हो सकती है इस चीज पर कि एक पर्सन को वो एक बैलेंस अटेन करने के लिए ऐसा क्या करना चाहिए?
So मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, you should know how to balance two things: the worldly life and my personal time. What we call me time or दुनिया के लिए. So the world can actually fool you, and a lot of people compare their success to what is achieved in the world.
In the material world.
Yes,
yeah.
But even to achieve success in the material world, you should require a quiet mind.
Exactly.
You have to win yourself first before you win over the others.
Yes.
So you can be in any field. It can be business, it can be politics, it can be sports, it can be influencer world like yours. The thing is that you should also have your me time. The me time is when you actually fuel yourself. And then you go to the world and attack. कम क्यों सोचना है? सोचना है तो नंबर वन, लेकिन और नंबर वन सोचने के लिए आपकी मनस्थिति has to be very spiritual. Then you can handle any परिस्थिति. इसलिए बहुत जरूरी है कि मनस्थिति स्पिरिचुअलिटी से आती है, अध्यात्म के बल पे आती है, लेकिन परिस्थिति कुछ भी हो, you can be with.
That's a very interesting point, sir. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इंसान का जब मन अशांत होता है तो वो दुनिया में चाहे उसके पास, जैसे वो कहावत है ना कि उसके पास सोने के घड़े होते हैं ऑलरेडी, बट वो उन सबको, या हीरे होते हैं बट वो उन सबको पत्थर समझ के बस तालाब में फेंकते जाता है. एंड देन समवन कम्स अप एंड टेल्स हिम कि अरे वो जिस आपने पत्थर समझ के फेंक दिया वो तो एक्चुअल में हीरे थे, राइट? बट ये ना बहुत समझ नहीं पाते हैं, राइट? तो एक मन को स्थिर करने के लिए what are those three things as per Chanakya's ideology which you think that the world should know currently to attain that kind of balance?
So सबसे पहले मैं कहूँगा कि आपको अगर अपने जीवन को सफल बनाना है तो दो चीज याद रखिए: ध्यान करो और ध्यान रखो. ध्यान करना is when you say you have to meditate. That's when you calm down your mind. But ध्यान रखो, when you are dealing with the world, you have to deal with every type of people. तो ध्यान रखना चाहिए कौन सही है कौन गलत है. Never let others to fool you. That is not chance.
Yeah.
So ध्यान करना है अंदर के लिए, ध्यान रखना है बाहर के लिए.
Correct.
अभी मैं बोलूंगा कि चाणक्य के तीन चीज क्या थे. तो मैं कहूँ सबसे पहले नेतृत्व और what we call leadership. Whatever field you take up, you have to think like a leader. A lot of people are today in India what is called startup culture or entrepreneurship culture. छोटा क्यों सोचना है? आप कुछ भी करो, लेकिन आपको उस फील्ड का लीडर बनना है. दूसरी जो चीज है, कैसा लीडर बनना है, that is where राज ऋषि कम है. तो spiritual leader doesn't mean you have to lead a spiritual organization. Should have those philosophical values. कि भले आप एक कंपनी चलाते हो, लेकिन you can have that attitude of service. भले you are actually having an NGO, you can still have an attitude of serving. तो पहले है leadership, दूसरा है राजर्षि, तीसरा जो है, which is very practical according to me, have an understanding of finance.
Okay.
जिसे चाणक्य कहते हैं अर्थ एवं प्रधान. इस दुनिया को जीतने के लिए पैसे की समझ बहुत जरूरी है. I'm not telling you that what accountants do.
Yeah.
I have a lot of chartered accountant friends. But what Chanakya calls is, apart from accounting, you should have something called financial acumen. इसका मतलब है पकड़ बोलते हैं ना, which is very natural in women. इनको पता चल जाता है. So the thing is that Chanakya wants you to develop these three things to be successful in every sphere that you take. कि आप लीडर के जैसे सोचो, and leadership is also responsibility.
Yes.
बहुत सारे लोगों को लगता है लीडरशिप मतलब कुर्सी मिल गई, कैप्टन बन गया. ऐसा नहीं होता. आप अगर एक जहाज के कैप्टन हो, या कैप्टन ऑफ शिप, यू आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल 24/7.
करेक्ट.
और जब तक जो सबसे आखिरी व्यक्ति होता है, टिल द लास्ट मैन इन द शिप इज नॉट सेव्ड, यू कैन नॉट क्विट द शिप.
एग्जैक्टली.
तो कैप्टन ऑलवेज सिंक्स अलोंग विद द शिप बोलते हैं. तो लीडरशिप इज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. दूसरी बात, स्पिरिचुअल बेस आपको हर परिस्थिति को मैनेज करने के लिए हेल्प करता है. और डेफिनेटली पैसे की समझ आपको हेल्प करता है कि हाउ टू प्रैक्टिकली डील विद द पीपल. दिस आर द थिंग्स Chanakya said.
Okay. So you pinpointed about leadership over here, right? So let's talk something about leadership and influence. Okay, because that is something, the kind of difference, the kind of classification which the world currently needs to know, and it's very important that we discuss about this. So how does one define, because आजकल की जो generation है sir, everybody has a choice, right? So one can always choose a leader and one can always choose whom to get influenced by, right? जैसे for example अभी जो हमारे देश में जो currently एक scenario चल रहा है of elections, right? So lot of people, they know that their leader is Narendra Modi ji, right? But somewhere there is also a section of society who is being influenced by Rahul Gandhi, right? I am not taking any sides over here of any political party, but yes, that is a fact. And to be precise, Narendra Modi ji is being termed as the world leader.
Yes.
Yes, in the present situation, because of whatever work that he has done, and yes, everything has been happening under his leadership, right? So when we always have a choice to choose our leader and to choose whom to get influenced by, still there is a good section of society which gets negatively influenced, right? जैसे अगर मैं बात करूँ यहाँ पर स्पोर्ट्स की, ठीक है, अब जैसे बहुत लोग हैं जो क्रिकेट की अगर बात करें तो बहुत लोग हैं जो विराट कोहली को देखते हैं, जो शुभमन गिल को देखते हैं, ठीक है. They only see the glamour side of what comes with it.
Yeah.
That's an influence, right? But when you talk about Mahendra Singh Dhoni, right? So that's leadership. People look up to him because of the kind of characteristics that he has shown time to time.
Yes.
Right? So your take on this, sir.
So coming to the first question, how do you differentiate between a leader and an influencer?
Yes.
How do I define it? Every leader is an influencer, but every influencer may not
be a leader. Yes.
Because leaders कौन सा कपड़ा पहनते हैं सब देखते हैं.
हाँ.
जैसे आपने मोदी जी को बात किया. Today it's a Modi jacket.
Yes.
So everybody will like to. But I see young boys surprisingly wanting to grow beard and actually put a white dye on it. मैं बोला ये तो उल्टा है. I want to look like boy. It's not a fanciness competition.
Yeah.
So think about what a leader does. Others will get influenced. Bhagavad Gita talks about this. Yad yad acharti shreshtaha tatta devi taro janaha. And you see that even in the film world, the kind of a dress that you wear will influence others.
Yes.
Now, going one step further, a leader can influence many things. For example, a leader not only, what I say, vastra, but what books is the leader reading? Shastra kya padta hai? Like for example, let's say a business leader like Bill Gates. Do you know the huge following in America to find out which is the next book Bill Gates is reading? and he'll post that on LinkedIn and it's a huge influence. And that's a one buffet. Okay, what is he reading? Okay, then what is he wearing? What is his thought process? Which mobile does he use? Which car does he use? So leaders are influencers, but not necessarily all influencers are leaders. For example, if you look at a space called social media influencers, now how do we judge that? Okay, is it the number of likes, comments, followers? Okay, that's a very statistical way of looking at it. But these people can also become negative influencers.
Yes.
But they have a moral responsibility to make sure that we become positive influencers as leaders.
So, sir, Chanakyaniti, all in all, is based upon character building, right? And I asked you earlier also that how did it shape your character and your future, right? Leadership and influencing both have a lot to do about character building.
Yes.
So, if you can just expand a little bit on this.
There's a very famous quote by Swami Vivekananda. I think he was in London at that time, or maybe in some European country, and he was like a fakir, right? A Swami going there giving lectures in English. So somebody suggested to him that we should go and meet a tailor and make a nice suit. He asked why. I mean, the dress was okay, but maybe he thought because of the old culture there. No. What will happen is that you are good in your knowledge, अंदर से बहुत knowledge है. बाहर से पैकेजिंग अच्छा नहीं है. So the tailor will make you a gentleman. We laughed. We said, okay, in your country, in your culture, a tailor makes a gentleman. In our culture, in our country, character makes a gentleman. So yes, good product should be packaged well. I also like to wear a suit. The thing is that what's your character? And that's why I think Chanakya was a person who believed inside out. So a leader has to be created inside. In fact, I go to the extent of even telling, in India, leaders were created inside the womb of the mother.
How?
So, we have this very interesting concept in India called Garbha Samskar.
Yes.
So when the woman is going to be on motherhood way, it's a very special treatment in our Indian culture. It's not just about feeding her, it's also about the thoughts, what she watches, what she eats, the surroundings. So what happens typically, your parents are in that field only. They are giving birth to so many children as gynecologists. But we have this culture, the girl goes to her mother's place. And the mother's place is taken care like a queen. And what does that mean? It's not just about feeding her, take care of her. The thought influences the child. So character building of the child happens there. And so many experiments have been done that the child's character happens and gets built in that initial stages. So if you look at Abhimanyu, learning strategies of warfare inside the womb, or if you look at Prahlad, who was born in the ecosystem of Rakshasa, but actually becomes a Hariman. Now, this is the first stage inside the womb, but then later on as the child comes out, there's also a lot of other influences, the school, the parents, the peer pressure, all this matters. And therefore, the ecosystem that Chanakya created was character. It's very important that we build an inner character so that any problem outside can be faced. A simple example from Chanakya's life, he took Chandragupta Maurya and built a leader out of him.
Yes.
And the leader is not just about being a world leader, it's also a character who was built to lead the world. So influences are important, but leaders with character are more important to influence the society.
Which is true. Okay. So, अब आपने जो बोला सर, मुझे उससे फिर से coming back to नरेंद्र मोदी जी, ठीक है? Everybody looks up to him as a man with a vision, as a man with great character, right? Do you think India is ready for another decade of, or maybe another tenure of such increasing in power leadership? Because leadership is all about power dynamics, right? And power dynamics comes from character, right? And that is what even Chanakya says, right? So, अभी का जो present youth है ना सर, वो कहाँ गलत जा रहा है in choosing their leader or in choosing the influence?
So मैं कहीं पे भी नहीं बोलूँगा कि हमारे youth गलत है.
Okay.
Youth will get influenced.
Yes.
Unfortunately, if you look at maybe 20 years ago, the influence of the society were celebrities like the sportsman and the film star. Nothing wrong. They're also great leaders. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, you look at Virat Kohli, a lot of film stars. But Narendra Modi suddenly entered that space, a politician who is a leader and an influencer. So today, if you look at social media, in US, Obama is the most followed social media influencer. Why he's not a film star? He's not a sportsman, even though he plays some sport. But he's a politician who became the value and the character of America. I had the opportunity of actually hosting Michelle when she was in India. Okay, I mean, not me, I mean, Bombay University. And it was very surprising that his character is built in India, even though he did not come to India, like maybe Steve Jobs came and changed. His role model is Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
In fact, the idea of somebody like a leader who is now influencing America, even though he's not the former president, comes from a very interesting social media post. When people don't know the shoot up of the followers of social media, impact of Obama happened when he posted one picture with his family. So it was a political campaign that happened, and suddenly it took off when he posted a photo with his wife and 2 kids. And I'm a family man. But look at America as a country where they're looking about role models, a political leader who's a family man. That also family values. And in India, we believe in family values.
Yes.
Having met Narendra Modi, what you said about, see, I met him first time. He was the chief minister of Gujarat. So he read my book, Corporate Chanakya, and he called me for a discussion. And I like people who read my books, who doesn't.
Of course.
As an author, you know that.
Yes.
But I'll tell you that the discussion I realized one thing. He was already 4 times CEO of Gujarat. He has come with those stars aligned for him that he's never lost an election. And then this was the year just before 2014. He was already ready to become a PM. So it is not that he became a PM in 2014. Mentally, intellectually was ready to take up that post. 2014 just happened. And I can tell you that after 2014, you see the era, he's not even thinking like an Indian leader. He's thinking like a global leader. So look at the programs that he does everywhere. He'll call all the people. He'll be on the global stage. What does it mean to India? Remember, he's the face of our country today.
Yes.
And India has achieved this global recognition and respect. I'm not telling that India was not an achiever. Even before Narendra Modi became the PM, you have recognized yourself as world leaders in different fields. For example, IT sector. And already having Google CEOs and Microsoft CEOs. But we still require a political face to India.
Yes.
And that happened. And what I like about him personally is basically the vision that is set for the next 25 years. He may not be there. Okay, maybe 1 more term, 2 more term, depends. But remember one thing, a leader sets a vision beyond his own lifetime.
Yes.
So when he talks about Amrit Kal, or maybe when he talks about 2047, he will not be there physically. But his vision can guide. It's very, very important to know that your character with vision and implementation. What I like about real leaders are that they deliver what they promise, and we can see everywhere. So I think it's very important that we are in an era which we call the Suvarna Kal, Amrit Kal. It's a golden era, and for the youth, I would say that please also aspire to become politicians. Why not? Because you are both. If you just are influencer, you may not be a leader. But if you're a leader, you are an influencer. So I would suggest all the youth, think about politics as the biggest thing that you can do to serve people.
Which is a great advice, sir. Because I think पिछले कुछ 8-10 सालों में यूथ का इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा आ चुका है पॉलिटिक्स में, राइट? और आपने एक बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट बताया अबाउट विजन, राइट? So, like how it's like the other way around, like all leaders are influencers, but not all influencers can be good leaders, right? Similarly, all leaders cannot be visionaries, but yes, a lot of visionaries can be great leaders, right? You have anything to say about this?
So, in fact, Chanakya speaks about many qualities of a leader. Many qualities. In fact, the Arthashastra, there are 52 qualities of a leader. And one of the qualities is very interesting. It is called as Utsaha Vardhaka. Okay. So, who call Utsaha enthusiasm? So, leader has to be enthusiastic. He has to have that energy level. You can see all leaders. By the way, this watch and clock is for those people who like to work according to the watch. But leaders only have a purpose. You will find that in a lot of world leaders also, not only Modi ji, in different fields. They just keep working, and you say, is he a workaholic? No, he's not workaholic. He works because he has a vision. I'll give you an example of another leader that I was very close to. And I've been very fortunate to meet him many times and organize his programs. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, another visionary leader. Of course, he's physically not with us, and I like him as a leader, but also a scientist, but also a teacher. He used to call himself a teacher. So there's an instant that comes in Abdul Kalam's life. So he's working on certain project, and one of his juniors, he calls him and saying that, okay, secretary calls him and say, okay, you want to meet me? Okay, let's meet up at 3 o'clock. He lands up at 3 o'clock. The secretary asks him, you're supposed to come at 3. He goes, yeah, it's 2:55. I'll come before that. No. This is 3 p.m. He was expecting me at 3 a.m.
Oh.
So I didn't know that. Was he working at 3 a.m.? Well, that's how he works. So there is no time clock, but purpose is something that inspires you. So coming back, leaders should have a purpose, they should have a vision, but it should be backed up with action also. Otherwise, बोलने में क्या जाते हैं? हम जैसे बोलते रहते हैं, आप लोग को करना है. So vision plus action is what is real leadership quality, and the ability to inspire others. Utsaha Vardhaka. That team members around him, we can see. Good leader also has got a fantastic team. Another leader from Maharashtra, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He was a leader who created many leaders. So leader doesn't create followers.
Yeah.
He creates more leaders. That's vision implemented by inspiring others.
That's lovely, sir. But बहुत बार ना ऐसे होता है कि विजन लॉस्ट हो जाता है, पर्पस की क्लैरिटी नहीं मिलती है काफी लोगों को, एंड nothing wrong with that. People in their 50s and 60s, they're still figuring out their lives, right? So what is your suggestion for people who are still figuring out, and how would they find a purpose?
So this is a very clear thing that all of us should do. Find a mentor.
Yeah.
Now don't ask me how to find a mentor. That's a big question. But the earlier you are mentored, the earlier you will find a purpose in life. So if you find it at 50, that's still fine. A lot of people have found their purpose at 50 and still made it big. But I think average people, we can experiment till 30s. You try this, you try this, you try this, okay. And there comes a point, you say, okay, this is my purpose, and let me make it big.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we find it 60, you're too early for the next life. So I think you require somebody to guide you, and as we're discussing offline also, astrology can be a great tool. So astrology is also a science.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't get the right scientist.
Yeah.
So, everybody is born with something. Some unique talent, some purpose, some art, some skill. It is called technically Swadharma in our culture. What are you born for? I've been fortunate that, I found my Swadharma to teach the whole world Chanakya. That became my purpose. And then, magic happens. So I would say everybody has to find a purpose which is unique. Unfortunately, we compare ourselves with somebody else.
Yes.
Acha, is Sachin Tendulkar? Okay. Now I have to only play cricket. That was for him. I'm not saying you can't play cricket or you can't be like Sachin Tendulkar, but you can be an artist, you can be a scientist. It depends. So one is saying purpose is very, very, very unique, which is only for you. And the day you find a purpose by God's grace or through mentoring, give your life to it. You will inspire others even after you are dead.
Sir, you told us some great characteristics of how to find clarity in purpose and in finding purpose, and how to become a good leader as well. But your core subject is Chanakya. And leadership. Yes. So who do you think, like coming थोड़ा हम इसको थोड़ा geo-political करते हैं सर, आपको क्या लगता है current space में, in the business world and in the politics world, who is the current reigning Chanakya?
So let me start with saying that Chanakya for me is not just a person, it's a way of thinking.
Correct.
So because Chanakya एक सोच है, केवल व्यक्ति नहीं. When you say Chanakya, the first impression that you will find all over the internet is a one person who is a choti, a Brahmin who's teacher, and very dirty look, very shrewd look. No, I think that's one part of Chanakya, but the way of thinking. Now, coming back, I found many Chanakyas in India and the business world. So let me give an example. In India, if you look at the space, a lot of people say Amit Shah is a Chanakya. But why not Jay Shankar being a Chanakya of the field of geopolitics?
Yes.
Why not look at somebody like, maybe Sushma Swaraj, who was previously there. Yes. She did fantastic work. Maybe somebody who is running, a state of India. For me, to be very frank, I've studied a lot about Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. For me, he was the closest person to Chanakya. No personal ambition. And he united India, that's why the Statue of Unity. So I would say, let's not have one Chanakya. There can be many Chanakyas, depending on how you look at it. Some people say Narendra Modi said Chanakya with Amit Shah. Why not?
Yeah.
Jay Shankar can be there, and economics can be there, and RBI, governor. The Chanakya of his field. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni, as a strategist, winning World Cup, is a Chanakya of his field. Coming to the business world, I personally, I've been following Apple a lot, even though, like most of us would like the price.
Yeah.
They are game changers.
Correct.
And they're true game changers. In fact, Apple was not the first mobile. In fact, but the way they branded it. In fact, many people don't know that Steve Jobs' claim to fame of Apple was after he was kicked out from Apple.
Yes.
So imagine you start a company and the board decides to remove you. Then you start a company called Pixar, you make movies like Toy Story and you come back to Apple and then make it big. I mean, what other Chanakyaniti you want?
Yes.
And then with the design element, you make it one of the biggest valued companies in the world. In one lifetime, if you can achieve your ambition.
So much.
Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel could do that in his lifetime. Create an India of his lifetime. And maybe everybody else, so let's say, a lot of people are able to do that in their lifetime. Chanakya could do that. So Chanakya is strategy implemented and delivered.
That's correct. And very well put, sir, actually. Okay. Sir, where do you see Chanakya's philosophies going in a global context, like beyond the Indian culture?
You'll be surprised. Chanakya is more known internationally and also in India.
Maybe that is also because globally India is now looked up to as a very spiritually grounded country. Maybe that could be one of the reasons. Because earlier it used to be only a country of snake charmers and सिर्फ मतलब बहुत अच्छा पिक्चर नहीं दिखाते थे इंडिया के बारे में. हाँ, वो चीजें धीरे धीरे चेंज हो गई है.
This is perception management.
Yes.
So India में अभी snake charmers है.
जी.
अभी भी elephants है.
जी.
But the perception that we are a developed country, which is true. Now the thing is that coming back to Chanakya, Chanakya was known to the world even before the modern times. Many people don't know the 1920s, Chanakya was more popular than our generation outside India. In countries like Germany, in Japan. I've been to so many countries where I teach in universities. I was surprised. But what happened is that after that era, you suddenly find India as a poor country and now suddenly you're becoming economically successful. Perception has changed. So globally speaking, there's a word Chanakya uses called as Vijigishu, which means you're a world leader.
Okay.
So it's not just about, being a leader of a country, you're a leader of the world, which includes many countries. So today if you look at the positioning of India, it's becoming like a world leader. And world leader doesn't mean one position that you get. It's also a thought leader. So कहते हैं ना आज भारत बोलता है तो दुनिया सुनती है. I think that's influence.
Correct.
That's leadership. And that's something that we should take. In fact, my father always said, India's greatest contribution to the world is going to be spirituality. आज हम बात कर रहे हैं योगा के बारे में, ध्यान के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. So why not? If you are going to be positioned, don't become power crazy there. Vijikishu is a world conqueror, but with a spiritual insight. So भारत का सबसे बड़ा जो गिफ्ट है दुनिया के लिए, वो अध्यात्म है. That is when you really become a world leader.
ये आपने बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट बताया सर. This brings me to power dynamics, right? Leadership में बहुत बड़ा एक रोल होता है power dynamics, right? And who do you think, like Chanakya was a kingmaker, right? But he himself never wanted to become a king. He was always the strategist behind the king and the dynasty, right? So, how do you think, what is the differentiation point between a king and a kingmaker? And how can an organization define both these roles and come to a common perspective?
Sure. So, the big difference. King versus kingmaker.
Yes.
Because I always give this analogy. Who sits on the chair is the king. And who creates the chair is a kingmaker. So, आपको कुर्सी पे बैठना है, कुर्सी बनाता कौन है?
Yeah.
So, coming to organizations, you generally see the leader or the king as a face. Chairman of a company.
Yes.
Head of, let's say, the armed forces, a political leader. He's a face. But there's a strategist behind him. And in a company, if you have a chairman, please understand this is a board of directors. Now they are kingmakers. They appoint the chairman, and they can also kick out a chairman. So let me tell you, today even in India and many countries across the world, there is a position called as independent director.
Okay.
And they decide, and they can even check out the chairman of a company.
Mm-hmm.
So if the board passes a resolution, then okay, ये अच्छा leader नहीं है, you will be CEO. Doesn't matter, you are away. So it's very important to know that this is power dynamics. And let me tell you, if you study Chanakya, you will understand a lot of new perspectives about power dynamics. Like there's a concept even in the legal terms called as balance of power. If you have one leader, it's a problem.
But having too many leaders is also a problem.
No, that's your balance of power. First thing is to get the right leaders, and then are checks and balances. So let me give you. So let me tell you. In India, when you look at a leader, technically or generally, who is the leader of India?
Modi ji.
Think about it.
I mean, from my perspective, yes.
Technically, constitutionally.
Jaishankar?
The president of India.
Oh yeah. Technically, okay.
No, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
So look at the state of Maharashtra. Who is the leader? The chief minister elected, but we'll be surprised. Whom does the chief minister report to? The governor.
Yeah.
Now it's a balance of power. Now many people say the president is very symbolic, कुछ करता नहीं, prime minister सब करते हैं. You'll be surprised. A prime minister actually has to get tuned to the president.
Yes.
President, the first citizen of the country. He or she is the supreme commander of the armed forces. Let me give an example, very famous example, demonetization. Who conducted it? Modi?
Yeah.
Who approved it?
The president
has to.
Yes.
Now you'll be surprised the greatest relation, positive relation that we had between a prime minister and a president, even though they are not from the same party, was Modi ji and Pranab Mukherjee. They are fantastic tuning. Both of them very nationalistic in approach. But you'll be surprised if Pranab Mukherjee said, "No, तुम BJP हो, हम कांग्रेस हम नहीं sanction करेंगे." Even demonetization wouldn't have happened.
Correct.
Please understand this. That's why balance of power is a different ballgame. And Chanakya talks of many types of powers. We only understand one thing, that is the power that comes with the chair. But let me give you 4 types of power just for discussion. One is called knowledge power. Is the professor more knowledgeable and powerful than the student?
Yes.
The student may be the son of the richest man in that particular country. But when it comes to knowledge, वो principal की cabin में कोई नहीं जा सकता. Now let's look at second power, which is understood by most of us, called money power. पैसा दिखता है. So everybody says, "Oh, साहब है."
Yes.
I've seen in an organization when you go, when the chairman, the owner, business owner comes in, everybody says, "Oh, साहब आ गए." Now in a position, yes, but also money that he pays salaries to people. Knowledge power, money power. Now comes manpower, and politicians understand that. If you have followers, then vote for you, you'll become a powerful person. But there's a fourth power which is very subtle. It's called the power of service. The Mother Teresa. Or you look at somebody who's a spiritual guru. He may not be politically powerful. He may have given, may have taken sannyas. But a guru actually is very powerful. He can influence. As Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, or maybe Sadhguru ji, Chinmaya Mission. So many. These gurus or influencers are powerful in their own way. So coming back, power position wise, constitution wise is one thing. And let me tell you that each person is powerful if we can ignite either of the 4 or a mix of the 4.
Correct.
Imagine I have knowledge and I also have position. So Chanakya created knowledgeable leaders with positions. So power is a different subject altogether. Yet, the Western world talks about this. The more you are powerful, the more chances of you being corrupt.
Yes, because the shift in power dynamics also kind of shifts the dynamics in our character.
You'll be surprised, Chanakya puts it the other way around. The more you're powerful, the more opportunity to serve people.
Yes.
So powerful people should not get into power game. They should understand the power game. You require power to influence. But the more powerful you are, the more influencing you can, the more you can serve. So as Modi ji says, Pradhan Mantri mat bolo, Pradhan Sevak bolo. So can you have the power of service? And that actually makes you powerful and loved by the people.
Which is so true. Well, this has been the most amazing conversation, sir. And pretty much that we have covered these topics, like, how can one define a king and a kingmaker? How can one define the difference between a leader and an influencer, right? And how can we all channelize all of these things pretty much positively so that we all could lead a better life, right? Any closing statements, sir?
Study Chanakya, think like Chanakya, become one.
Correct. So do you suggest that one should become a king or a kingmaker?
Both. So first you have like become a king first.
Yeah.
But a king also has a retirement age.
Correct.
Create more kings. The leader is the one who creates more leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So get promoted from leader to leadership guru, from king to kingmaker.
That's lovely. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. We are, yes, definitely continuing this conversation ahead, but yes, because of the shortage of the length that we could upload on YouTube, we are splitting this episode into two parts. This episode was all about king and kingmaker, leadership, and yes, Sir's journey about how Chanakya kind of influenced his entire life and how he is influencing everyone, whoever is coming in touch with him as well. So yeah, the next part is going to be about the art of war and diplomacy. So yeah, stay tuned for part 2.
Oh, wait, have you subscribed to my channel yet? Subscribe now.